Learning and self-improvement are not confined to the years spent in school. On the contrary, they should be seen as a lifelong journey that continues throughout our entire existence. The moment we stop gathering knowledge and keeping our minds sharp, we face the risk of falling behind in today's rapidly changing world. Throughout history, intelligent people have always carried an insatiable sense of curiosity. Regardless of their age or academic background, they kept seeking new insights and exploring different perspectives. What set them apart was not merely their natural abilities, but their hunger for learning. Contrary to common belief, our brain does not stop developing after youth. In fact, it retains the ability to form new connections and increase gray matter throughout life. Acquiring a new skill, reading a book, or exploring an unfamiliar field of knowledge reshapes the mind. Just as muscles grow stronger when exercised, our brain stays vibrant through learning. Dedicating even half an hour each day to learning something new sharpens perception, enhances mental flexibility, and allows us to preserve a youthful mind even in later years. In today's era, where technology advances at breathtaking speed, and societies as well as workplaces are constantly evolving, abandoning self-improvement means more than ignorance. It means losing touch with life itself. In our careers, social circles, and even within family relationships, the only way to stay relevant and equipped is to keep learning. Education never ends at the doors of school. True education is a lifelong journey. Nurturing curiosity not only enriches our knowledge, but also provides a strong shield against cognitive decline. While mental slowdown with age is a natural process, research shows that those who keep their minds active and make learning a habit experience this much more gradually. Activities such as solving puzzles, learning a new language, playing an instrument, or exploring an unfamiliar culture stimulate memory centers and strengthen neural pathways. Dear listeners, I have a small request. If what you've heard has sparked curiosity in you, I'd be grateful if you subscribed to my channel, liked this video, and left a comment. You can even support through the Super Thanks option if you wish. This way, you help these ideas reach more people while becoming part of a growing learning community. The secret to mental growth lies in taking small, consistent steps each day. Just as athletes build their muscles through daily training, those who feed their minds with new ideas gradually become more creative, sharper, and more productive. When exposed to new stimuli, the brain reorganizes itself, forming new pathways and reinforcing connections. As a result, not only does memory improve, but problem-solving skills, analytical thinking, and creativity also expand. Scientists call this process neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape, learn, and adapt throughout life. Most importantly, it is never too late to change. Even in later years, starting a new hobby or learning something fresh can positively transform the brain. Studies show that older adults with consistent learning habits perform better in memory tests, maintain focus longer, and preserve decision-making skills. Continuing to learn boosts quality of life, not only in youth, but at every stage of life. The benefits go beyond the neurological level. Learning also builds self-confidence, reveals hidden talents, broadens our horizons, and allows us to see the world from different perspectives. This richness positively affects every area of life, from professional growth to personal relationships. People who cultivate lifelong learning habits find more innovative solutions in their work, adapt more quickly to change, and approach challenges with greater flexibility. In today's fast-changing world, this is the true secret to staying resilient. Just like unused muscles weaken, a stagnant brain quickly deteriorates. By contrast, New knowledge, experiences, and pursuits act like a rejuvenating tonic for the mind. Dedicating just 30 minutes a day to learning can transform our lives in the long run. In that time, we can read books on topics of interest, join online courses, watch documentaries, or listen to expert interviews. Instead of spending hours scrolling through social media, creating a simple personal learning plan is far more rewarding. We live in an age where access to information has never been easier. The real challenge is using this opportunity wisely. Those who practice intentional learning lead more productive, focused, and fulfilling lives. Learning is not just about gaining knowledge, it also builds mental flexibility, helps us find alternative solutions, and strengthens our confidence in the future. Exploring new fields is also essential for keeping the brain young. Deepening existing interests is valuable, but real growth comes from stepping into unfamiliar subjects. A business professional might study art history, while someone who enjoys mathematics might explore philosophy. This diversity activates different parts of the brain and forms new connections. In short, those who embrace learning as a lifelong habit are rewarded not only with knowledge, but with mental youth, flexibility, and creativity. The key lies in preserving curiosity and seeing learning not as a burden, but as a joy. Exercising the mind each day is much like keeping the body in shape. With regular movement, the brain thrives on new challenges. Neurons create new connections, reinforce existing pathways, and process information more efficiently. For this reason, regardless of age or profession, regular mental exercises significantly strengthen focus, memory, processing speed, intelligence, and decision-making. Just as muscles grow through resistance, the brain expands through challenging tasks. Challenging here does not mean impossible goals, but rather activities slightly beyond one's current ability, questions that require deeper focus, new concepts that feel unfamiliar, and tasks that enrich concentration instead of scattering it. Working in cycles of 15-30 minutes of deep focus, followed by short breaks, keeps the mind sharp, as neural networks thrive on this rhythmic load and become increasingly efficient. The key lies in distinguishing between passive consumption and active learning. Browsing social media provides brief stimulation, but does not build lasting connections. In contrast, reading a short article with intention, tackling a complex problem, learning a new software interface, or studying word roots in a foreign language engages the brain's circuitry. Repetition of the same type of stimulus leads to saturation, which is why variety in cognitive training is essential. One day, it could be a spatial puzzle, the next day, logic games, then rhythm exercises or quick text summarization. These small variations create a cross-training effect for the brain. Reading is among the most powerful forms of training. A book carries more than information. It holds patterns of reasoning, conceptual frameworks, and accumulated wisdom. Following a book from start to finish develops long-term attention discipline. Tracking characters' motives, following the chain of arguments, and identifying bridges between claims and evidence trains flexible thinking. Fiction sharpens empathy and theory of mind, while nonfiction builds conceptual maps that help us structure information and retrieve it when needed. These benefits are cumulative. Today's 50 pages will accelerate tomorrow's comprehension. The secret is to make reading intentional rather than random. Previewing the content, scanning the table of contents, or noting guiding questions primes the brain for new input. Pausing while reading to ask, "What does this mean in my world?" links knowledge to personal context, improving retention. Summarizing aloud, discussing main ideas, or sharing favorite passages reinforces memory and polishes thought. In short, approaching a book with a cycle of absorbing, processing, and applying transforms it into a living part of our mind. Sleep plays the invisible yet vital role in this process. It organizes daytime learning, removes unnecessary noise, and strengthens essential connections. Poor or irregular sleep narrows attention, lowers emotional balance, and reduces decision-making quality. Thus, rest is not separate from mental training, but its most critical component. Dimming screens and lights before bed provides a braking distance for the mind, while starting the day with reading or breathing exercises instead of a phone sets, focus on our own terms. Consistency is a word the brain embraces. Going to bed and waking up at similar times supports mental rhythm. Learning a musical instrument is also an unexpectedly rich brain workout. Reading notes engages the visual system. Finger movement activates the motor system. Rhythm involves executive functions, and expression stimulates emotional networks. Even 15 minutes a day of consistent practice builds structure. Early chords may feel difficult, but small progress activates the reward system and sustains motivation. Trying to play a melody by ear teaches the value of mistakes and corrections, one of the most transferable mental habits to daily and professional life. Physical movement acts as a catalyst for cognitive performance. Walking increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the brain, while growth factors encourage the creation of new synapses. The sight of trees, the feel of wind, the rhythm of steps all remind the nervous system of presence in the here and now. Reducing the inner noise that distracts the mind creates clarity. A brisk 15-minute walk makes decision-making easier once you return to your desk. Slightly elevating your heart rate during the day also elevates your mental energy. This does not require a strict program. Taking the stairs, getting off one stop early, walking through a park at lunch, or stretching for just 5 minutes after dinner all accumulate into meaningful impact. In terms of productivity, the key is not adding more hours, but improving the quality of focus. Working in 90-minute focus blocks, followed by short breaks, provides the brain with rhythmic stimulation. Each block should hold one task, one goal, and one window open at a time. Simple adjustments such as desk organization, screen height, lighting, and chair selection raise fatigue thresholds. Small apps that block distracting sites at set hours preserve willpower. Breaking big projects into smaller tasks, linking each to tangible outcomes, and making progress visible at the end of the day builds momentum for the next. Nutrition is the hidden infrastructure of thought. Colorful vegetables, low-sugar fruits, seeds, and quality proteins fuel the brain properly. Processed foods may bring short-lived pleasure, but lead to energy crashes and poor decision-making in the long run. In contrast, sufficient hydration, balanced macronutrients, omega fatty acids, and regular eating patterns keep mental performance steady. Simply put, when the body's fuel is clean, the mind burns brightly. Managing stress and consciously creating space for joy protect cognitive capacity. Chronic tension wears down attention and memory systems. Short daily practices such as 10 minutes of breathing exercises, moments in nature, gratitude journaling, or noting small achievements act as safety valves for the nervous system. Gentle forms of social contact, eye contact, sharing humor, expressing gratitude, stabilize not only mood, but also focus. Furthermore, meaningful small pleasures strengthen mental resilience, unlike fleeting dopamine surges. All these principles work best when applied through small, sustainable routines. A short reading, writing, and movement session at the same time daily, mentally challenging tasks a few times a week, and exploring an entirely new field once a month train the brain to build bridges across ideas. The mind becomes faster at problem solving, deeper in understanding, and more flexible in memory. The brain thrives on feedback. Teaching what you've learned or summarizing it in your own words highlights gaps in knowledge. Mistakes are not marks of failure, but signals pointing to the next step. Correcting a wrong note in music, rewriting an awkward sentence, or breaking down a math step refines not only the result, but also the thinking process. Genetics provides the foundation, but the true height of growth is set by daily effort. Regular learning periods, intentional reading, quality sleep, measured movement, balanced nutrition, managed stress, and meaningful joys push the mind forward little by little. Intelligence thus stops being a fixed measure and becomes a living capacity shaped within life itself. What matters most is this: mental growth is less about grand leaps than steady persistence. 10 pages of reading today, 5 minutes of rhythm practice tomorrow, a 20-minute walk the next day, a short digital detox before bed, or 2 deep breaths before morning coffee. These small stones eventually reshape the shore. With time, these daily investments expand horizons, sharpen decisions, and keep the mind young even after years. The brain hears this steady melody, playing it more clearly, perceiving more sharply, and thinking more deeply each day. Books, sleep, exercise, and balanced nutrition are cornerstones of mental development. Yet the true power lies in applying this knowledge daily. Information that is not integrated into actions fades quickly. In contrast, summarizing notes, sharing with friends, or experimenting in daily life makes knowledge durable. Like a seed sprouting in soil, information must be recreated through lived experience. Neuroscience shows that the brain continuously rewires during learning, a process known as neuroplasticity. Millions of new synaptic connections form each day. Some strengthen, others fade. Which ones last depends entirely on what we choose to focus on. Hours spent scrolling through shallow content strengthen superficial connections, while learning a new language, reading books, playing an instrument, or entering new fields strengthens lasting ones. Who we are and who we become depends on what we feed our mind. Playing a musical instrument is a perfect example. Reading notes, keeping rhythm, coordinating finger movements, and expressing emotion activate multiple brain regions simultaneously. Studies show that musicians often have stronger memory, concentration, and creativity. Moreover, music fosters not only personal growth but also social cohesion. Playing in an orchestra or singing in a choir cultivates cooperation, harmony, and patience. The effects of physical exercise are equally profound. Regular movement strengthens not only the body but also the brain. Exercise boosts endorphins and serotonin, improving mood, increasing blood flow to the brain, and encouraging the birth of new neurons. Research has shown that brisk walking 3 times a week significantly improves memory. Physical activity also enhances resilience against stress and everyday challenges. In other words, each step on the walking track opens new pathways in the mind. Ultimately, maximizing mental capacity requires a whole system approach: focused work blocks, restorative sleep, mindful nutrition, regular movement, and lifelong learning. Each action contributes to the brain's remarkable ability to rebuild itself day by day. Our brain works in waves, and aligning with these rhythms boosts both productivity and learning speed. Another secret to effective work lies in shaping our environment. A messy desk, poor lighting, or constant notifications drain our mental energy. Yet with a few simple steps, such as using headphones to reduce noise, turning off phone alerts, or decluttering our workspace, we can dramatically enhance our focus. The environment is a mirror of the mind. When there is order outside, clarity arises within. Nutrition also plays a vital role in mental performance. The brain consumes nearly 20% of the body's total energy. An organ with such high demand must be fueled properly. Omega-3 rich fish, colorful antioxidant-packed vegetables, low-sugar fruits, and quality protein sources recharge the brain's fuel reserves. In contrast, heavily processed foods, excess sugar, and trans fats may create a short burst of energy, but ultimately lead to fatigue, poor concentration, and mental fog. As scientists often emphasize, we are what we eat, or more precisely, we think the way we eat. Stress management is equally crucial for mental growth. Chronic stress can shrink the areas of the brain responsible for memory and learning. Living in constant anxiety restricts not only our mood, but also our intellectual capacity. That is why daily relaxation practices are essential. A 10-minute breathing exercise, brief meditation, a walk in nature, or keeping a gratitude journal can ease stress's harmful effects. As social beings, simply sharing laughter, talking with someone we trust, or even making eye contact can calm the nervous system. Happiness plays a far greater role in intelligence than we often assume. Introducing joyful activities into daily life nurtures creativity and problem solving. Trying out a new recipe, painting, reading poetry, or tending to flowers in the garden stimulates different regions of the brain. These activities not only enrich the moment, but also enhance mental flexibility over time. Research consistently shows that people who engage in enjoyable activities regularly have sharper memory, stronger focus, and greater life satisfaction. Together, these principles reveal a clear truth. Human intelligence is not fixed. Genetic potential provides a foundation, but it is our daily habits that shape the real difference. Continuous learning, brain exercises, quality sleep, proper nutrition, stress management, and the pursuit of happiness are the most powerful tools for enhancing intelligence. Used wisely, they allow us to expand our mental capacity regardless of age. This progress benefits not only individuals, but society as a whole. Focused, creative, and mentally strong individuals make better decisions, generate innovative solutions, and share knowledge, illuminating the path for others. Thus, investing in self-development is also a social responsibility. Mental development resembles a marathon. It requires steady and sustainable steps rather than sudden leaps. Small daily actions accumulate into profound change over the years. Today's few pages of reading become tomorrow's sharper memory. Today's short walk transforms into clearer thinking tomorrow. Today's 10-minute breathing exercise returns as tomorrow's calmer mind. To make our lives more productive, creative, and meaningful, we hold a powerful tool: conscious habits. By challenging the mind with new knowledge, keeping the body active, and inviting peace into the spirit, we harness this power. And the beauty is that no effort is ever wasted. Every small step helps the brain stay young, broadens our horizons, and unlocks our potential. One of the most essential habits for mental growth is reading. Throughout history, books have been humanity's most effective vessel for transferring knowledge. When you open a book, you are not just turning pages, you are carrying centuries of ideas, experiences, and dreams into your mind. This is why regular reading is one of the strongest practices for sharpening intelligence and widening perspective. Its benefits go beyond knowledge acquisition. Understanding a character's emotions in a novel, analyzing past events in history, or grasping complex scientific theories activates multiple areas of the brain. Reading cultivates empathy, creativity, and critical thinking alongside intellectual growth. Despite living in a digital age filled with constant information, most content is consumed superficially and quickly forgotten. By contrast, spending an hour immersed in a book trains deep thinking and sustained attention. Studies show that regular readers perform better academically and professionally, solve problems more creatively, and demonstrate higher emotional intelligence. The key to building a reading habit lies in consistency. Even 30 minutes a day makes a profound difference. Reading in the morning awakens the mind, while reading before bed reduces stress and eases sleep. The important part is to treat reading not as a duty, but as a pleasant pause. Equally important is how we read. Instead of skimming through lines, following the author's chain of thought, pausing to reflect, and making personal connections leads to deeper understanding. For example, linking a philosophical concept to a real-life situation helps it stay firmly in memory. Summarizing our reading with notes or sharing insights with others further enhances retention. Finally, sleep is an inseparable part of learning and mental growth, as the brain processes and consolidates new knowledge during rest. REM sleep is essential for memory and learning. Missing even one night of sleep can lead to poor concentration, weakened memory, and difficulty making decisions the next day. Yet in today's fast-paced world, sleep is often neglected. Viewing less sleep as a sign of productivity damages both mental and physical health in the long run. Research shows that adults need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Importantly, it is not just the duration, but also the quality that matters. To get the most out of sleep, it helps to avoid screens before bed, reduce light exposure, keep the room slightly cool, and go to bed and wake up at the same times each day. Such habits align with the brain's natural biological clock. Nutrition is another pillar of mental performance. The brain relies on glucose as its primary fuel, but it must come from balanced and healthy sources. Colorful vegetables, fiber-rich whole grains, omega-3 rich fish, nuts, and quality proteins provide what the brain needs. Excess sugar and processed foods, however, cause short bursts of energy followed by crashes that impair focus in the long term. Staying well hydrated is also critical. A dehydrated brain reveals itself through fatigue, headaches, and poor concentration. Stress management is vital for preserving mental health. Constant stress raises cortisol levels, which can harm areas of the brain responsible for memory and learning. While eliminating stress entirely is impossible, managing it is achievable. Regular breathing exercises, meditation, time in nature, or taking short breaks throughout the day all help reduce stress's negative effects. Social bonds also play a key role. Talking with trusted people, sharing worries, or simply laughing together lightens the brain's emotional load. Engaging in enjoyable activities further enhances mental capacity. Humans are not defined solely by work and responsibilities. We thrive through art, hobbies, and relationships. Painting, reading poetry, listening to music, walking in nature, or spending time with loved ones activate different parts of the brain and foster mental flexibility. Such pursuits strengthen creativity while sharpening problem-solving skills. Altogether, these factors prove that intelligence is not fixed. The human brain has the capacity to grow and adapt throughout life. What truly matters is adopting habits that nurture this potential. Small, consistent steps like reading 30 minutes daily, taking a walk, preparing a healthy meal, or practicing meditation can multiply mental strength over time. These benefits extend beyond the individual. Mentally strong people contribute to social progress as well. Creative thinkers, empathetic listeners, and sound decision-makers inspire those around them. Thus, self-development is not only personal but also a social responsibility. Looking at successful people, one common trait stands out: their hunger for learning. They read constantly, explore new fields, seek diverse experiences, and never stop improving themselves. What sets them apart is not innate talent, but habits. Our habits define who we are and who we become. One of the biggest obstacles on the path to mental growth is laziness. The brain seeks efficiency and gravitates toward easy tasks. Scrolling through social media or watching TV may feel more appealing than effortful learning. Yet, these fleeting pleasures add little value in the long run. In contrast, disciplined learning habits create lifelong wealth. Intelligence is not a gift we are born with. It is shaped by the habits we cultivate. Lifelong learning, mental exercises, consistent reading, healthy sleep, balanced nutrition, stress management, and space for joy all open the doors to intelligence. Every small step taken today becomes a big difference tomorrow. The greatest tool for expanding mental capacity lies in our own choices. Keeping the mind alive is not just about collecting knowledge, but applying it in daily life. Otherwise, information remains forgotten lines in a corner of the mind. Application is therefore a cornerstone of learning. For instance, when studying a new language, it is not enough to read grammar rules. We must also use the language in conversations, take notes, and write. The brain strengthens knowledge when it is repeated and applied in different contexts. Another way to build mental flexibility is to see problems from multiple angles. A challenge may seem to have one solution, but deeper thinking often reveals alternatives. Mental exercise is not limited to academic knowledge. Even everyday decisions train the brain. Choosing a different route to work, for example, engages the brain's navigation and planning centers. Breaking routines is like a workout for the mind. Memory techniques also play a powerful role. The brain retains information better when linked to visuals and stories. Turning abstract data into images or narratives strengthens recall. Ancient Greek thinkers used the memory palace method, placing symbols in familiar spaces to remember details. Modern science confirms that the brain remembers abstract information more effectively when tied to images and spatial organization. The importance of sleep, nutrition, and exercise must be emphasized again. In modern life, many people sacrifice these basics. Yet, sleep deprivation not only reduces focus in the short term, but also raises risks of cognitive decline in the long run. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is essential for the brain to repair itself. Similarly, eating natural foods and avoiding processed ones boosts mental performance. Omega-3 seconds, antioxidants, and whole grains strengthen memory and attention. Physical exercise increases blood flow and oxygen to the brain, supports new neuron growth, and balances stress hormones. Optimizing productivity also requires structured habits. Beginning the day with a short reading or breathing exercise instead of checking the phone can set a positive tone. Breaking tasks into smaller parts, creating realistic to-do lists, and minimizing distractions enhances efficiency. Focusing on one task at a time produces better outcomes than multitasking. Writing is another valuable practice for mental growth. Journaling, summarizing what we learn, or drafting short essays helps organize thoughts and sharpen expression. Writing engages both words and concepts, making the mind more creative and analytical. In conclusion, mental development is a lifelong journey. Small, steady steps accumulate into transformative growth. Intelligence is not a static trait, but a potential unlocked through learning, experience, and consistent practice. Mental growth is a lifelong journey that deepens with time and touches every aspect of our lives. Reading, writing, learning, exercising, eating mindfully, maintaining healthy sleep patterns, managing stress, and making room for happiness are the foundations of this journey. Small, consistent steps taken each day open the door to long-term transformation. That's why we must be patient with ourselves and nourish our minds with the right habits. A mind fueled by curiosity and discipline remains young, vibrant, and creative. As we continue to learn, our brains form new pathways and stronger connections. This doesn't only enrich us individually, but also contributes to our communities and society as a whole. Open-minded learners inspire others and help pave the way for progress. Curiosity is the driving force of mental growth. As children, we naturally explore the world with curiosity, but as we grow older, that instinct tends to fade. Yet the true value lies in asking meaningful questions. Why is this done this way? Could there be another approach? What's the story behind it? Such questions keep our minds alive. Information we are genuinely curious about rarely fades from memory. Writing is another powerful tool for mental development. Writing is not only about putting thoughts on paper, but also about clarifying, restructuring, and refining them. Keeping a journal, summarizing what we learn, or writing essays sharpens our thinking capacity. Writing also provides emotional relief by easing inner tension. Teaching is considered the highest stage of learning. When we explain something to others, we simplify it, reorganize it, and make it more permanent in our own minds. That's why sharing knowledge strengthens learning. Naturally, motivation may fade along the way, but discipline matters more. Small, sustainable habits keep us moving forward even when motivation is low. Breaking goals into smaller parts, attaching them to daily routines, and staying patient are key to long-term progress. Mistakes are also essential. Failure is not an end, but a powerful tool for learning. Social engagement is another critical part of mental growth. Interacting with others and encountering different perspectives broadens our horizons. Joining book clubs, attending seminars, or volunteering not only strengthens social bonds, but also enriches the mind. In the digital age, access to knowledge has never been easier. But this abundance also brings information pollution. That's why critical thinking is essential. Questioning sources, comparing perspectives, and evaluating evidence are the foundations of intellectual freedom. Creativity is also inseparable from mental development. It's not limited to art. It shows up in everyday life, finding new solutions at work, trying out new recipes, or inventing games. Staying open to new experiences and allowing ourselves to make mistakes fuels creativity. In conclusion, mental growth is a holistic journey fueled by curiosity, patience, critical thinking, creativity, discipline, and social interaction. Small steps taken daily lead to profound change over time. As long as we nourish our minds with knowledge, experience, and passion, growth never stops, because investing in mental growth is truly the most valuable investment of life. Focusing on a single task brings both speed and quality. Simple choices like avoiding phone use while reading, not checking emails while writing a report, or turning off the TV while cooking significantly enhance productivity. Productivity is also closely tied to mental health. Efficient work boosts self-confidence, while unfinished tasks weigh on the mind and increase stress. On the other hand, completing tasks triggers dopamine release in the brain, which fuels motivation. Thus, productivity is not only about finishing tasks, but also about maintaining mental well-being. In today's world, one effective way to improve productivity is through mindful use of digital tools. Time management apps, reminders, and focus-oriented software can help keep tasks organized. However, these tools should remain supportive, not become the main focus. Sometimes, people spend so much time planning, installing apps, or building systems that they neglect the actual work. Tools should make things easier, but the heart of productivity lies in the work itself. The power of habits is another strong factor in boosting productivity. The brain automates repeated behaviors, which conserves energy for more creative processes. Establishing routines such as waking up at the same time, taking a short walk after breakfast, or reading at a set hour creates structure. This structure enhances productivity because it reduces decision fatigue and allows energy to be directed toward meaningful work. Productivity is not limited to professional life. It extends to home, social, and personal growth. Organizing household chores saves time. Making time with loved ones more meaningful strengthens relationships, while habits like regular exercise, journaling, or learning a new language reflect productivity in different ways. Resting is equally vital for productivity. Many equate being productive with constant work, but the mind requires rest. Proper sleep, short breaks, and vacations restore mental capacity. Without rest, the mind slows down, loses focus, and creativity diminishes. There is also a psychological side to productivity. People become more productive when they believe their work has meaning. Knowing that one's efforts benefit others boosts motivation. Asking ourselves, "Why am I doing this?" or "Who will benefit from this?" can give purpose to our work and enhance productivity. Limiting technology consciously is another key to managing time. Social media, endless news feeds, and games often consume hours without notice. Setting boundaries like disabling notifications or scheduling limited screen time saves valuable time and increases productivity. Nutrition also plays a major role. The brain relies on food for energy. Sugary snacks may provide a quick boost, but lead to crashes and mental fog. Balanced meals, particularly those rich in protein and omega-3 fatty acids, support memory, focus, and learning ability throughout the day. The social environment is another factor. Surrounding ourselves with inspiring, supportive people raises productivity, while spending too much time with those who complain or waste time reduces it. Being selective about our circle is therefore crucial. In conclusion, productivity is an inseparable part of mental growth. It contributes not only to personal success, but also to collective progress. Managing factors such as focus, planning, habit formation, rest, nutrition, and social connections consciously strengthens productivity. Most importantly, productivity should not be seen as working harder, but as working smarter. It is a skill developed over time, not instantly. Those who embrace it enrich both their own lives and the communities around them. At the heart of inspiring others lies empathy. Empathy is the ability to see through someone else's eyes, to understand their emotions, and to sense their inner world. Individuals with strong mental capacity are not only skilled at analyzing information, but also at understanding human feelings. Emotional intelligence complements intellectual intelligence. Life requires not just numbers, theories, and data, but also emotions. The true key to successful human relationships is the ability to empathize. When we think of a strong leader, what often lies behind their influence is precisely this ability. A manager who does not understand their employees eventually loses their trust. A person who fails to show empathy toward their family experiences disconnection in relationships. On the other hand, someone who practices empathy recognizes others' worth, notices their needs, and acts accordingly, earning both trust and respect. Empathy is not only crucial in personal relationships, but also at the societal level. Social peace depends on people's ability to understand one another. Approaching different cultures, beliefs, and perspectives with empathy forms the foundation of harmony. Mental growth makes individuals not only more knowledgeable, but also more compassionate, because those who use knowledge wisely see diversity as enrichment rather than a threat. Throughout history, great thinkers, scientists, and artists have dedicated their knowledge and talents not just to themselves, but also to humanity. A scientist's discovery finds its true value when shared with the world. A writer leaves a lasting impact when they share their ideas. An artist nourishes society's spirit when their work inspires people. True leaders are those who unlock the potential of others. A mentally developed leader identifies people's strengths, supports them, and encourages them, enabling not only their own success, but also the success of others. On the journey of learning, individual benefit is important, but so is collective contribution. A learner should share knowledge and encourage others to grow as well. Discussing a subject with peers, sharing insights within the family, or participating in volunteer activities transforms personal knowledge into social value. Moreover, teaching benefits not only the learner but also the teacher, deepening their understanding. Knowledge combined with arrogance isolates, but when paired with humility and empathy, it creates trust and respect. Social contribution is not limited to large-scale projects. Sometimes a small act, a smile, or an idea shared can create meaningful impact. Gifting a child a book, teaching something new to an elder, or sharing an inspiring thought with a friend are powerful examples. One of the most important aspects of sharing knowledge is doing so responsibly, spreading accurate information, standing against misinformation, and encouraging critical thinking play a vital role in transforming intellectual growth into social contribution. Empathy and leadership are not only personal qualities, but also essential in professional life. A manager who considers both the performance and emotional needs of their team builds a more productive workplace. People naturally give more effort when they feel valued. The same applies in education. A teacher who approaches students with empathy helps them unlock their hidden potential. For this reason, intellectual growth supports both personal and professional success. One of the clearest reflections of social contribution is volunteering. Individuals who dedicate their time and knowledge for the benefit of others not only serve society, but also strengthen their own intellectual development. Helping others deepens empathy, offers new perspectives, and broadens horizons through different experiences. Another key sign of mental maturity is accepting our own limitations. It is impossible to know everything. Recognizing what we do not know, remaining open to learning, and asking for help when necessary nurtures humility and makes leadership more human-centered. Ultimately, intellectual growth is not just a personal journey, but also a social responsibility. Knowledge, combined with empathy, gives rise to true leadership. And true leadership creates opportunities to contribute to others. Sharing what we learn, inspiring those around us, and approaching life with empathy make our intellectual journey far more meaningful. Real growth is not measured by personal achievements alone, but by the positive impact we leave on others. One of the greatest realizations of this journey is that it never truly ends. The human mind has the capacity to change, learn, and transform throughout life. What matters is not reaching a final destination, but embracing the journey as a way of living. Learning, trying, failing, and trying again are the essence of being human. Major transformations are usually the result of small yet consistent steps. Scientific research shows that the brain can form new connections throughout life. Learning a new language, playing an instrument, or exploring an unfamiliar subject strengthens the mind. But motivation alone is not enough. Discipline and patience are essential. Small daily steps create significant long-term changes. Intellectual growth is not only about acquiring knowledge, but also about developing emotional intelligence. Building empathy, managing anger, coping with stress, and maintaining healthy relationships are crucial elements of this process. Art and nature also play a vital role in nourishing the mind. Music, painting, or poetry stimulate different areas of the brain, while contact with nature reduces stress and restores balance. In the end, intellectual growth builds confidence, gives life deeper meaning, and strengthens both individuals and societies. Keeping curiosity alive, practicing discipline, and sharing knowledge are the guiding principles of this lifelong journey. True growth is not just a personal achievement, it is a legacy shared with humanity.